I'm a new otaku and I'm 19, but anyway, I wanted to know what are some good shows. I like stuff like Welcome to the NHK and Blue Exorcist and High School D&D. Those are pretty varied stuff, dude. Like, even I didn't like Welcome to the NHK because it was really kind of slow and not much was happening. I didn't really care for the characters. I gotta think maybe 8 episodes in? I didn't really care for it. What are some good shows? It's hard to recommend because you just mentioned, like, various genres. You mentioned you like Blue Exorcist. That's a shonen. You should watch Magi that's currently airing, and see how you like that. Let's see how that goes. As for another show you might like, though, I don't know, because like I said, the shows you gave an example of are very different genres. So it's really hard to recommend something because you gave these different genres. Like, there's not even really a connecting thread I can make between any of these shows. So I guess if anything, I'd say, yeah, watch Magi, because that's currently airing, and that was pretty good. A lot of, like, I can give you popular shows that people like Madoka, Mahashoujo Madoka Magica, Steins Gate, Baccano. You can watch those and see how you like those. If you liked Welcome to the NHK, you must be able to put up with characters enough to get through to like Baccano. Because Baccano's extremely character focused, so you can go with that. But yeah, I can't really recommend anything other than all those I mentioned. Good luck with finding stuff, though. If you want to send me a personal message with, like, all the shows you've watched, or, well, maybe not all the shows you've watched, but maybe like a general kind of genres of stuff you've watched, or like anything, like I don't even have a problem with you liking different genres. It's just the problem is there's no real writing practices that's common between any of those. Like, the writing style for them is different too, not just the genre, so it's hard for me to say anything. Like, so if you want to send me a personal message with maybe a couple more shows you've liked, then maybe I can give you a little more accurate suggestion list. But just off of those, I could recommend those popular shows that I've already mentioned, but I can't go off just those, sorry. But your next question. What is your favorite type of anime? Anime that's written well. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm really not kidding. Like, I really don't care what the genre of something is as long as it's written well. Sometimes with different genres, you have to write differently because of the genre. But for the most part, just general good writing is just kind of universal. So things that are written well, I like. That's just how it goes. It's pretty much how it'll always go. But for the next question, what do you do for a living? No need for specifics. Don't worry, dude. I'm a college student full time. I don't have a job. College is my job, essentially. I'm a full-time college student, so I don't really have anything else I'm doing other than college. So there's that. I don't even know what I'm going to do after college, so I can't even answer that. So I guess just to answer what I do for a living, I go to college. It kind of sucks. I've become very upset with the educational system over the years. I'm not going to go into details because I've already gone for an hour and 20 minutes of other shit, so I'm not going to do that. But, yeah, I'm a college student. Next question. Do you have a Tumblr? I don't. I don't want to get a Tumblr because I'll probably spend a lot of my time on Tumblr if I did. Because I've seen how it works because one of my friends is addicted to Tumblr. And he spends, like, all of his time just looking through his dashboard of all these new pictures and new text posts that come up, and I can imagine myself doing that. Maybe I wouldn't follow as many as he does, but I can imagine myself spending just as much time, and I need all the free time I can get outside of college to do, like, these videos among playing games and stuff, and it's not something I'll probably do. Maybe I'll get a Tumblr for the sake of having you guys being able to follow me or something, because I know there are some people who have fan bases, well, I don't want to say fan bases, that's such a dirty word. Out of people that like their work, that have different social media. Like, some people have a Facebook, some people have a Twitter, some people have, like, fucking everything, but I hate when people do that because then you're like, which one updates the quickest? So if I were to ever do anything for you guys to be able to follow me and see what's up, I would probably make a Tumblr. In fact, I might even do that pretty recently. I imagine there's probably only, like, 5 of you who even have a Tumblr that would be willing to follow me. But if you want, I could, I'd probably treat it like my Twitter. I'd comment on random shows that I'm watching, etc., that I'm doing. I'd be able to keep it more strictly anime. Sometimes on my Twitter, I mention, completely random shit, you know, that I'm doing, like, oh man, I'm hungry, you know. I mean, I'm not that kind of tweeter. Like, sometimes I'll just, like, sometimes I make really bad jokes too. If you want to follow my Twitter, you can go to my blog that I link in pretty much every single video, except for this Q&A video. At the bottom of the video description, I have a link to my blog, and on the right-hand, like, bar, there's a little box that you can click on to get to my Twitter, if you want to follow that. I basically just, I don't tweet very often. I tweet maybe, like, once every 2 days, if that. Like, maybe I'll tweet a couple times every 2 days. Generally, like, every 2 days I'll tweet, though. And usually, most of the time, it's just to make a really bad joke about whatever I'm watching. So if you like that idea, you can follow my Twitter. But yeah, I might actually make a Twitter for you guys, a Tumblr for you guys to follow, because that's actually a social media I haven't touched in ever. So it would actually be kind of interesting to do that. So that's definitely a possibility of me making one. But as for your next question, have you seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? Please don't stone me to death. No, I have not watched it. And I haven't watched the original Full Metal Alchemist either. Don't send me hate mail, because one of my friends is already riding my ass about this already. Like, every time I'm like, oh man, you should play this new game, or oh man, you should watch this. Every fucking time he's like, have you watched Full Metal Alchemist yet? And I'll be like, no. And he's like, oh, then I'm not gonna do this. And I'm like, fuck. So I will get to it eventually. I'm not sure if I'll make a video review or anything on it, but I am going to watch it probably decently soon after I actually catch up on currently airing shows, because I'm really behind on currently airing shows, because I'm not really trying to keep up with them, because except for shows carrying over last season, it's just winter season shows I'm not really keeping up with, because like I said, I'm watching them to make fun of them, so I'm not really, you know, I'm not really eager to jump into them. But yes, I am going to get to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I really will. And then I will give you my thoughts in a video, maybe. Maybe by then I'll have a Tumblr, and then I can post my thoughts on it. It's a definite possibility there. So thank you for bringing that idea up, though. I should mention I will probably go through with that Tumblr idea of making one. But anyways, next question: have you watched Avatar: The Last Airbender? And if so, what's your opinion on it? I have watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. I can't talk. It's been an hour and a half. I'm losing my ability to speak. Have you, but yes, I have watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. I own all seasons of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It is basically my example of the perfect show that is kid-friendly and also entertaining for adults, because it's written extremely well. So in that manner, adults will be able to like it because of how well written it is, but also because it also has some general adult, because Looney Tunes set the example of how to do an all-ages show. Have it so that kids like the stuff that they're seeing, but be at least, you know, decently subtle enough that they can't catch up on the more adult themes that are presented, you know? Or at least make the adult themes kid-friendly so that, you know, everyone can enjoy what's going on. And I thought Avatar did that really well. If you want to talk about Korra, that's a completely different story with an ending that I found fucking offensive. The last 10 minutes were basically a whole load of what the fuck is happening, and basically the writers pulling shit out of their ass because I guess they didn't want to have any cliffhangers for the end of the season, so they just wrapped up a lot of, like, you know, problems like that for no real reason or explanation, because reasons. Yeah, I didn't really care for Korra that much. It was kind of, it made me pretty upset. It was not written as well as Avatar: The Last Airbender, let me put it that way. Korra was a step down in writing. So, there's that. But yeah, Avatar: The Last Airbender is a really good show. I recommend it to anyone that hasn't watched it yet. Even if you're an anime fan, because, like I said before in answer to a previous question, it copies a lot of styles, anime styles a lot of the time. So you'll see the similarities there if you watch it. So it's a really good show. But next question. Which do you prefer, tsundere or moe characters? Probably equal. I mean, I keep saying it, but you can use those personalities well or badly. But if I were to give an example based on the current amount that are out, I would have to go with tsundere, even though they're being butchered nowadays. Like, nowadays, the way that tsunderes are being interpreted is basically as moe characters. Like, they basically give these characters this tsundere personality, and then everyone likes them because they're... It's like, oh, you should like them because they're tsunderes. And it's like, no, that's fucking stupid. Like, my example of That's basically the example of how to not do a tsundere. My example of how to do a tsundere is basically if we were to, like Shanna from Shakugan no Shanna. She was a tsundere because she wasn't human. And when she started to get feelings for Yuji, she didn't understand them because, well, she wasn't human. So she was like, what are these? Like, first she didn't even care. She was just like, what are these feelings? This feels kind of weird. I don't understand. And then as she understood what the feelings were, she was just kind of like, she didn't understand how to accept them. Like, she didn't understand how to interpret them, which is why she lashed out whenever they were kind of brought up in her. Which is my example of how to do a tsundere well. They actually have a reason for being tsundere. Shanna's basically my go-to example of how to do a tsundere. But yeah, I would prefer tsundere if we were going on basic current examples. But you can do a Mo character just fine if you don't write like shit. Too bad most of the people who write Moe characters do write like shit. Ooh, shots fired. But yeah, that's my preference. And the last question? Well, technically it's 2 questions. No, Puzzle Lion, you were not too late. I was late. What's your favorite psychological horror anime? I actually think I had an answer for this before I started this Q&A, and now I can't remember it. Probably Madoka. You could technically call it a psychological horror anime. Like, not even technically, it is a psychological horror anime. Like, some bad shit happens, it's a horror. And it's psychological because it really deals with the characters' mindsets and all that jazz. It is. Like, I could say that's probably my favorite psychological horror anime. A lot of people like to say their favorite horror, I'm not sure if it's psychological, but a lot of people like to say their favorite horror anime is Shiki. I actually haven't finished Shiki yet. I watched, like, halfway through, and then I stopped watching it for some reason. I can't remember why. But I need to finish that, so I guess that's a horror anime that a lot of people like. Again, not sure if it's psychological at all. Then you asked about if I've watched Evangelion, if I liked it. I guess you could technically also call Evangelion a psychological horror anime, but I have not watched it. Well, that's not entirely accurate. I have watched like 3 episodes of it. I actually own Evangelion, and I own the 2 movies that are out as far as American releases. I own them, but I've only watched 3 episodes. I haven't watched anymore because I just haven't had time. As for the 3 episodes I watched, the first one, like, I think the first episode was kind of boring, but that's generally how first episodes go. So it didn't really bother me much. And it was the episode where it showed for the first time, that, you know, the robots weren't really robots. They were, you know, living things, where it was kind of like shit was getting real. So yeah, I'll definitely watch more, and I'm probably don't have a doubt that I'll like it. Yeah, so I guess those are my thoughts on it. I've watched 3 episodes of it, but when I do finish it, I'm probably gonna like it. Yeah, and that's all the questions. Wow, I can't believe it took me that long to answer that many. Though to be fair, there were quite a few questions. There's 24 comments, and if we average out to 3 questions for most people ask 3 questions. So that's like 72 questions. To be fair, that's a little over a minute for each question. Like, that's not even 2 minutes per question. That's like, it's just over, okay, maybe now it's 2 minutes per question, but 2 minutes per question is not shabby. So actually, maybe this isn't that long. I did go off tangent. It definitely could have been a hell of a lot shorter, but nonetheless, I'd say around 2 minutes each question isn't that shabby at all. But yeah. Just to bring up before I end this, I just thought I'd mention for you guys that what I found interesting about your questions is not so much what you asked, so much as what you didn't ask. I'm not going to go into depth about what I mean, but I just find it interesting that about the type of questions that you asked, you know, because there's many different types of questions you can ask, and the type that you guys went for, or I guess the type that you didn't go for, it kind of interests me. But yeah, that was the end of the first Q&A session. I think I'm saying this for like the 3rd fucking time. But yeah, that's all for now, and I will see you guys in the next video I make, which will hopefully come out within the next few days. It'll be another unscripted video, so hopefully I won't go off topic on that one. I should be a little more concise, though, because I'll actually be focusing on a specific topic for, or a specific show for each one, or for each thing I'm going to talk about, so it should be a lot easier for me to stay on topic. So I'll see you guys in the next video.